All right, friends, this is page 4. So number 8A, page 4. So this says use long division or long or synthetic division to help solve the following completely. And they are telling us that this right here, what that says is that whatever they give us is a factor because it equals 0. So they're telling us that whatever k is, that it's a factor. Or that it's rather, not that it's a factor, that it's a interceptor is 0. Is the terminology for that. Okay, so looking at this, they're telling me that this right here is what we call a 0 or an x-intercept. So when I do this and do synthetic division to here, I should get a 0 as my remainder. Let's see if we do. So I'm going to put my -3 there. Notice they gave us the 0, not the factor, so I don't need to do the opposite of -3. I'm doing -3 in the box. I'm going to get a 2. A 3, -11, and a -6. Bring down that 2. I'm expecting to get a 0 over here. If not, I've done something wrong because the problem's wrong. So that's what I'm expecting. So I get a -6, gives me a -3. That gives me a +9, which is a -2 when I add. Multiply, that gives me a +6. That gives me a 0 when I add. Box up that remainder because it helps you see what you've got. So the directions up here, it's a big difference from what we were doing on the last page. Now it's saying to solve. So that means that I can't just stop. I need to actually keep going. So that makes this a little more challenging. So f of x is equal to x plus 3 times 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. Okay, so now, because my remainder is 0, this is what I've got. And now I need to factor this further if possible. If not, I need to use the quadratic formula on it. And to be honest, I haven't done this problem yet. I'm using the 0 product property to write these separately, just in case you were curious. I do not need that parenthesis. So I may be using more whiteout right here. We'll see. So this is, you want to be doing it in pencil, and then that way you can subtract. I find it's not as easy to see the pencil, so I use pen, but that does make it trickier to subtract, or to erase stuff, I mean. Okay, so this guy over here is going to give me x equals -3. That is not shocking, because we were told that it was a factor or a 0, and so we expected that. Great, we got it. Okay, so now this one I'm going to try to do this with. I'm going to put a 2x here and an x there. And then if I put a 2 here, that gives me 4, and a 1 there, that gives me 1. So I need it to be -4, +1. I'm going to double check this. This gives me 2x squared minus 4x plus 1x, that's minus 3x, and then minus 2. So it does factor, yay. So now I've got 2x plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. Oh no, what's happening to the pen? So I get x, I think I might be having pen issues. Let's go 2x equals -1, so x equals -1/2 if I divide the 2 over. X equals +2. Nailed it. So the directions said to solve, and I just did. X equals -3, -1/2, and 2. Nailed it. Okay. This is no joke, though. You got to be able to do some serious math here. All right, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. 3, -1, -19, -15. Bring the 3 down. Multiply, that gives you 9, so this is an 8, that's a 24, it's +5, it's 15, this is a 0. Sweet, we expected that. Okay, so let me see here. What am I doing? Okay. X minus 3, this is f of x. Minus 3, and then this is 3x squared. Plus 8x plus 5. Again, I'm going to set these equal to 0. That's the 0 product property. That allows us to do that. This one is going to be x equals 3. Again, not shocking. That was given to us. This one I'm going to try to factor. I do not know if it will. 3x and x. So that's my 3x squared. Now, if I put my 5 here, let's put the 5 there and the 1 there. That's going to give me 3x. This is going to give me 5x. If I can make them both positive, does that work? 3x's and 5x's is 8x's. It does. So I get x equals -1 from that one. And then here I'm going to subtract 5. Then I'm going to divide by 3. And of course, that's off the charts, because that's how I roll all the time. Okay, so x is equal to -5/3, -1, and 3. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep cruising down here. Ooh, now this, by the way, I should back up here. You see how this one was a cubic? I expected 3 answers and I got them. This one was a cubic. I expected 3 answers and I got them. This one is to the 4th, so how many answers do I expect to get? I expect to get 4 is my answer, but look, I already know 2 of them. All right, so here's how this is going to go down. I'm going to do synthetic division with the -1 in the box. 2, -1, -11, 4, and 12. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Notice I'm just being careful because there's lots of little places to make mistakes. -2, -3, that gives me a +3. A -8, that gives me a +8. That gives me 12. -12, 0, sweet. -1 is. Now, this is confusing. So I've got x to the 4th right there. I have just reduced it down by 1 degree, meaning this is x cubed. Make sure you box this because it helps you be able to see this work out. X cubed, x squared, x and constant. So what we've just done is we've just gotten this. Now, I'm going to use that again. I'm not going to go back to the original. I'm going to use this new info with that 2. 2, -3, -8, 12. Not the 0. The 0 is done. Okay, remember, my whole point is to be making this thing smaller and reducing it down. So that's what's happening. So 2, that gives me a 4. 1, when I multiply, that gives me 2. That gives me -6. Multiply, that gives me -12. Oh, look, shocking. It's another 0, and I expect that because of that. So here's what's happened, though. I have taken my f of x, and I know that x plus 1 is a factor. That's coming from this one. I know that x minus 2 is a factor. That's this one. Remember, it's the opposite of what it says for the factor. And then now what I've got left is 2x squared plus x minus 6 from right here. 2x squared plus x minus 6. I didn't need these parentheses or these, but apparently I can't stop. And then now this one is 0 equals 2x squared plus x minus 6. Okay, this one gives me x equals -1. This one gives me x equals 2. Again, we knew those. Let's see about this, friends. Uh-oh, I'm getting over to my other side over there. Let's see. So if I go 2x and x, now I've got a 2 and a 3. Let's see, or a 1 and a 6. If I do a 2 and a 3, a 2 here and a 3 there, and I make this positive and that negative, does that work? Let's check. It's called guess and check. So 2x squared, this right here gives me 4x's minus 3x's is in fact an x, and then it gives me a minus 6. Great. So 2x minus 3 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so here we go. X equals -2, -1, 3 halves, 2. There are the 4 answers on this one. Okay, and then finally, boy, this is exciting, isn't it? Okay, so here we go. So f of x is another x to the 4th, so that means I should expect to get 4 results right here. I'm expecting 4 results. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Ooh, double root. That means it goes twice. So this is a minus 2. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Bring down the 1, that's a negative 2. 4, that's negative 8. 1, that's negative 2, so negative 6. Positive 12, box it so you can tell the remainder. Okay, now I know it's a double root, so I've got to do negative 2 again. I'm not going to go back to the original. That would be pointless. I'm going to use these new, not including the remainder. All right, so 1, that's going to give me negative 2. That's a 2. Gives me negative 4, which is a negative 3. That gives me a positive 6. That's a 0. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got f of x is equal to x plus 2 times x plus 2 times x squared plus 2x minus 3. Uh-oh, I flung it off here, sorry. Okay, so now I've got 0 equals x plus 2. 0, oopsies, equals x plus 2. 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. So x equals negative 2. I know you're probably going to sleep. I'm about to go to sleep, man. I'm tired. This is not that exciting, but hopefully it'll help you if you needed to see somebody work through it. Oopsies. Okay, so this is going to be an x and an x. Let's go with a 1 and a 3. This needs to be positive and that needs to be negative. That's a 0. Let's see, is that true? X squared. This is going to give us 3 x's minus an x is 2 x's. Then minus 3. Nailed it. So x minus 1 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. X equals 1. X equals negative 3. Okay, so here are my answers. And great news, there's 4 of them. There's the double root at negative 2. That counts for 2. Oops, I'm out of order. There's negative 3. And then there's positive 1. That only looks like 3 answers, but this is a double root at negative 2. Okay, that is the end of this page.